All right, good morning. This is how committed I am for you guys. Andrew could not make the show today, yet here I am. And I've got a good lineup for you. Good morning. Let me just make sure I don't have any audio feedback from my stream. I have some notes here. Wanted to do this broadcast today on the habits that people should be adopting in their 20s when it comes to dealing with money, creating wealth, and not making some dumb choices amongst that. Let's hop right into it. The first one I've got here is something that I learned from a personal mentor. I think I was around 22, maybe 21 or so. I was young. I just came back to Canada, and I had this TD Visa card. Okay. And this point is, so number one is credit card points mostly, I'm going to add mostly there, and it's almost like a little bit of a disclaimer. They really don't matter. So I got this TD Visa card when I was 20-ish almost. The whole premise behind it was use the card and they'll give you a certain amount of dollar allocation. It's called the earn rate, which you can then use to apply to the purchase, lease, finance of your next GM vehicle. I had no interest in any of the lineup with the exception of the Corvette. As a young man, being a car guy, I thought to myself, oh yeah, we're going to get ourselves a Corvette. Well, little did I know how dumb that belief was at the time. So I was telling this older gentleman, and I happened to have my credit card statement handy with me at the time. I think I worked with this guy actually. And he said, points don't really matter. So we took a look at the statement, and he broke it down. The maximum that you can earn, because my feeling was just keep using this card for every single purchase that I make with it, and I'll have enough points to basically buy this car for free. Because that's what the marketing tells, young people. Not in specific terms, but those are the sound bites that are used to lead you to believe that if you just behave like a good little credit card holder, you will at some point reap big rewards from it. But the truth of the matter is it's really only big time monthly spenders that have any opportunity to use any kinds of rewards. Because when we took a look at it, the earn rate after about 6 months, I think it was minuscule. It was less than $10. I think it was like $7 or $8. It was almost embarrassing. And then he looked at the total amount that you could earn to apply towards a vehicle, which I think was $5,500 at the time. Nowhere near what a fully loaded Corvette would have cost. So there's no chance in hell. It was like, the earn rate would have taken me well over 10 years. And I think that it reset every 5 or 6 years. So there was no chance in hell after he showed me that I would have had any opportunity to go and get that Corvette with the card, just dropping it down and saying, ooh, look, I have enough points to go get this for free. Credit card points earn rates are pretty low and almost insignificant on no annual fee cards. Don't be fooled thinking that if you just get the card and rack it up and it's like, oh, I'm getting the coffee mug, so why don't I get the extra one as well, or the matching set, just so I can spend more and rack up those points. That's not the way to go about it. That's not how rich people get rich. That's not how they accumulate their wealth. You have to be smart about it, and you have to look past the marketing material so that you do not make any of those mistakes that I did at the time. Now, I said mostly don't matter when it came to points because they do matter when you have a big amount of spending that you've got to use, ideally through a company. If you're running a Facebook ads campaign, a Google AdWords campaign, YouTube pre-roll ads campaign, they, for the most part, charge credit cards. And if you're spending $10, $20, $30, $50,000 a month on recurring billing to promote products or services or something like that, if you've got a business running, then that's when they can matter. But that's going to be a lot further on in your life. But in your 20s, guys, don't fall for credit card marketing campaigns with no annual fee cards that have earn rate points and all this sort of thing. They're specifically designed and marketed to you to encourage you to spend, carry a balance, just make a minimum monthly payment and keep doing that so that you end up into a position of debt, which is not particularly helpful, and the earn rate does not outweigh any of those strategies. So be very, very careful with that. Number two, live well below your means. I put live below your means here, but I remember my dad always used to say, live well below your means. And that didn't really sink in because, we're programmed and conditioned as good little consumers to go out and buy the McMansion, the big giant house, and spend everything you got on it to make it look pretty, or to go and rent the nicest place that you can afford. Drive the nicest car that you can get off the lot with, 84 payment installments at, one low interest rate, but you look flashy as hell, even though the warranty runs out before the payments run out. Most warranties run out after 3 years, but if you're making payments for 5 or 6 years, you're kind of screwed. The idea really is live well below your means. And like generally speaking, people don't care, the whole notion of the keeping up with the Joneses stuff, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in understanding, delayed gratification and how every dollar counts in a moment. But just be smart about it, right? If like I still do this to this day. Okay, I did pick up a newish demo car a couple of years ago. Again, I made some concessions. Could have bought a new one, but I bought a demo with 12,000 kilometers. Could have bought the top trim model with all the horsepower and all the lickings and the trimmings, but I took the intermediate model, right? Because I knew that it was going to be a daily driver, and I'm not going to race the car everywhere, so to speak. So I don't need all that extra power. So probably saved myself about 25 grand on that purchase. It's something that most people are not comfortable with and not that familiar with, because all the marketing messages that we get from the media, from the state, from everywhere, it's always, you have more money than you think. You have no idea how much more money, how much more buying power you have than what you think. Just, tick these boxes, fill out this form, we'll deposit the money in your account tomorrow. We'll give you the longest payment possible. And they try to make it as easy as possible for you to get in the most debt possible for as long as possible. Most people don't know this, but creditors, credit card issuers, they specifically target younger people, men and women under the age of 30, specifically because they're going to live longer than somebody that's in their 50s or 60s. And they have a hard time collecting on debt if somebody's dead, obviously. They can try through the estate, but they're often not very successful. But if they can issue all of this credit to somebody in their 20s, student loans, credit cards, overdraft, get the special student payment on your next Kia vehicle or whatever it is that they're trying to promote to you. And then you think, oh, well, now I have all this stuff. You're not living below your means. Saving $1 at 20 has more value than saving $1 at 40 because of the value of compound interest. You put that dollar away at 20, it's worth significantly more by the time you're 40. You put that dollar away at 40, at 45, there's not much difference with it, right? Time's on your side. So again, live below your means. Number 3, understand delayed gratification. I've talked about this story before. Marks and Spencer used to be a store that was popular in Canada. They're gone now. And then I can't remember if it was my granddad or there's somebody else, but he was an older fellow that told me the notion of layaway. And you used to go to a store like Marks and Spencer, and you'd see the sweater that you like, and you'd put down 50 cents from your paycheck that week, and you'd go back in 2 weeks and put down another 50 cents until you might have paid off that $2 or $3 sweater at the time, whatever it might have cost you after about a month or so. But that was the notion of layaway. And that taught people delayed gratification. It taught people the value of money. It taught people, the value of only spending what you have in your pocket, sort of thing, within reason. That does not work well for credit card issuers. That does not work for big financial institutions, because there's not a lot of profit in that for them, because you're really only buying when you have the money and you can go and show up and make another installment payment on it. And then you walk out of the store at the end of a month or a month and a half once you've paid it in full. So the idea of credit comes along. And understanding delayed gratification should be fundamental to anybody that starts to use credit. If you use credit and you don't understand what layaway is or what delayed gratification is, you're setting yourself up for failure. Rich people that have created significant wealth, do not get drunk on the credit Kool-Aid. But the problem is nobody understands layaway anymore. Nobody understands that, delaying gratification is significant. There was a marshmallow test done a long time ago, and they presented 2 children. Well, they didn't just use 2 children, but they used multiple. But they would present a series of kids a marshmallow, and they said, look, you can have this marshmallow right now, or if you wait a period of time, predetermined, it might have been 15, 30 minutes, you can have 2 marshmallows. And they tracked these kids over a long period of time. The ones that were willing to delay gratification and wait, an extra 15, 30 minutes for the second marshmallow so they could have two instead of one. So the ones that slammed the marshmallow back right away, they don't understand, or they didn't innately comprehend what delayed gratification was, and they did quite poorly in life. They tracked these kids for a long period of time. All the kids that delayed gratification and waited for the second marshmallow did significantly better in life. They made more money, they were healthier, they made better choices, and so on and so forth. So it's an important component to understand when it comes to habits and what rich people do. I always say success leaves clues, so follow those that are being successful, and you just rip off and duplicate and do what they do. Delayed gratification matters. So that's number 3. Number 4, where are we at? 10-minute mark. Hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast. Give it a thumbs up if you are, by the way. Thank you. Number 4, every dollar counts. Nobody cares about your stuff, okay? You need to get into the habit, practice this at a younger age when you're in your 20s. I mean, listen, if you're 40, start now, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if you're younger and you're going to the dollar store to pick up some crap for your house, and then you start to find some certain things, it's like, oh, well, that's only $2, so let me throw that in the buggy. Okay, understand that there's there's crap on my desk right now that I really don't need. A lot of this stuff I get gifted to me, sort of things, or the demo products. But there's things here that if I had picked it up and I'd put it in my buggy and I took it back out and I dropped it back on a shelf, that would have saved me $1 or $2. Okay, and if I had done that 2 or 3 times repeatedly at the store in my 20s, that would have saved me, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10, per journey. So you have to understand that every buck counts. Nobody cares about your stuff. Nobody is going to say kinder things at your funeral because you had 10-foot ceilings in your house instead of 8-foot ceilings. Nobody's going to care about the presentation of whatever's sitting over your shelving or any awards on your deathbed. It just doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So don't go and blow money on dumb stuff that you don't need to when you can just leave it on the shelf and walk past it. This is a habit of people that learn this skill in their 20s at a younger age. And the 5th one and the last one here, which I don't need to spend too much time on, is it's easier to save $1 than make $1, which kind of ties into my 4th point, is don't spend money again if you don't need to. It is far, far easier to walk away from this mug on the shelf, okay, not buy it when you're rolling up and down the aisle, than it is to make the money that would be required for you to pay for it. So not buying something is that much better. It's just a compounding thing. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that you need to subscribe to, for the rest of your life. I know some people are going to criticize me and say, well, you're just too frugal and all this kind of things and blah, 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 blah. Well, look, guys, at the end of the day, these are basic habits. If you can master these habits and have some discipline, because that's what it really boils down to, is having some discipline and delaying gratification in your life, because investments you make in yourself in your younger years are going to pay significantly more, are going to compound and pay you significantly more later on in life. So it's important that you have that discipline as you go about your life. Let's wrap it up on that note. So there's your 5 points. I put them in the description of the video if you guys want to reference them. Just going to check the chat here for a sec. Good morning. As somebody in the early 20s who lives in the same province, this should be good. Yes. And good morning, King. So guys, thank you for watching live. Appreciate the live viewers. I do look in the comments for topic suggestions for future videos. Andrew will be back next Saturday with me. He just wasn't able to make it today. So leave a comment in the video for a topic suggestion. I always look for ideas from you guys and some guidance if there's something that you want me to cover specifically around personal finance, credit, debt, money management, stuff like that. Let's dive into it. We'll see you guys in the next broadcast.